Welcome back to Streaming Media 2025. I'm Doug Daulton. We're here at the Fairmount Miramar in sunny Santa Monica, California. I'm here with Olga Kornienko of EZDRM. Olga, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Can you tell us a little bit about EZDRM and what you all are working on?
Sure. EZDRM is a hosted, managed video content security as a service company. We have been working on expanding our offering and going from being known as a DRM provider to adding a number of other services and products to our portfolio to expand it to offer a more complete video security solution.
So when we met briefly at NAB last year, I think we were talking about data provenance. Is that part of the piece you're working on as well?
Definitely. We have actually, I talked during the show, there was and I think I became the C2PA person somehow, the de facto C2PA person. But we did have a panel about DRM and C2PA, what it is and what it isn't. And provenance has been a very important topic lately, basically trying to get people to understand if the content they're looking at, what is the source of it, and whether or not it's been modified since it's been published.
Well, and it's so important for so many reasons. One, protect the IP. Two, to make sure that the content that people are consuming, they at least know whether it's been modified or changed or it's made up entirely. You know, some of the stuff that we're seeing now from the Sora 2 tests, you know, where you're seeing Dr. King's speeches being manipulated as a test, but to show how authentic it looks, and then having a watermark or some other thing that flags in the system, just understand this is satire, this is some other thing. I think it's going to be an incredible important piece.
Well, and at the end of the day, C2PA does not attempt to answer the question of whether or not this content is factually correct. It basically wants to say that if you believe the Earth is flat, you can talk about it.
Yeah.
And you can say that the Earth is flat and I believe it and blah, 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 blah. And as long as you don't claim to be the scientific organization of, pick a country or whatever, and don't claim it as scientific fact, you can say whatever you want. And then the other part of it is tagging AI content and saying that it is AI. And yeah, you can create all sorts of things. I just watched somebody create a video of a guy fighting an ant. It was hysterical. Nobody's trying to pretend that it's real.
Have you seen the trend that just popped up in the last couple of days where it's cats saving babies from wild animals?
No.
It's like, I saw the first one, I'm like, and it looked so real. And I was like, and then suddenly I saw 10 videos of it, right? It's a trend that now there's all these, there's one of a cougar eating a steak out of a baby's hand, and the cat, and it's so realistic, and it just speaks to how important this piece is, getting it. So to your point, I think it's an interesting one, that you can say whatever you want, but if you're going to show a video that says that it claims to be this thing, at the very least, the audience needs to know that it's been modified. It's not the original source footage.
Yeah, and it could be the original source image, but it could be somebody making a movie, quote unquote, making a realistic movie, and then claiming that it's Doug's movie or Doug's content. And you can say whatever you believe in, as long as you don't claim that it's CNN or Fox News or pick your preference of news organizations. Then it's as long as it's just yours, and then you can post it and sign it. Or vice versa, obviously, sign it, then post it. And then so that also nobody grabs that content and makes changes to it. It's like somebody approached me and said that they get content from various news organizations. They're posting it, but they don't understand why they would need C2PA. And my response to them was, well, in case you post it maybe with your logo or something, give credit to New York Times for post it with your logo, and then somebody modifies that and starts propagating that. And then New York Times starts going, wait, no, this is not an authentic content we gave you. You have a defense mechanism of saying, well, look, this is what you gave me, this is what I posted, and it's signed with my company's signature. And now this content that's out there doesn't have the signature anymore. It means that somebody modified it and didn't bother to sign it.
Well, and there's the IP violation issue there, but then there's also the legal liability issue and being proactively defensive about that. So if you post something and then someone modifies it and then a bad actor goes and acts on that and then they come back and say, well, Olga said X. Well, no, she didn't. She can prove that she didn't say X. They took this and then manipulated it. And then that's another very important business case to consider.
And that also goes into brand reputation, and also potentially manipulating markets. On our panel, Rebecca brought up a topic that imagine if two companies were doing a joint press release and then somewhere plugged in using AI that we're merging. Now these two giant tech companies are allegedly merging, people going to buy their stock market goes up. By the time information comes out, somebody made a lot of money and it was all completely fraudulent.
And then the SEC is going to come knocking and asking questions. And,
Exactly.
So
And having that content protected somehow. Whereas, and if it's protected with C2PA, and I use the word protected, meaning that it's signed with C2PA and it protects your brand reputation. But if it's signed with C2PA, you can go back and say, well, this is the version that we published, and this is what this is what we shared. Anything else outside of that?
it's essentially the digital media version of a notary, being able to say,
Pretty
hey, I witnessed that this content is factual and this is the state it was in, and if it gets manipulated or changed down the road, you have a way to say, no, I can't handle it. It's on the internet. Somebody can do whatever they want with it, but you can't come back to me with that.
Correct. And contrary to DRM, where once content is encrypted, it can't change anymore. C2PA allows for creativity still, because if you come up with a funny video of a cat being, saving a baby from, I don't know, a bear, right? And I decided that unicorn should be involved in that whole process too somewhere, because at the end of the day, in my version, they have to write off on the unicorn. I can make that change, and I can then sign it myself, and then people can see that this is your version and this is my version, and if they for some reason are anti-unicorn, they can't go after you for, torturing poor unicorns or
Well,
something.
and it seems like it's an extension of the Creative Commons ethos, and then the culture that we see so much, the remix culture we see not emerging, it's been extant for the last 10 years between YouTube and now TikTok. And so there's a way to say, hey, let my contract go viral and be reused and mashed up, but also be able to say, I didn't actually say that.
Exactly. And I think a lot of it comes back to making sure that your rights are protected. And with C2PA, you can continue to do creative things with content while protecting the original creator's rights and IP and reputation and so on and so forth.
Outstanding. So at the show, what are the things that you've seen people talking about or that's popped out to you as really interesting?
Well, actually, I'm going to continue the C2PA topic.
Sure.
Because we have done a lot of talking about it. We've been members of C2PA for a while now. And I feel like even recently at IBC at NAB, I would sit down and I'd say, hey, we're working on C2PA, and most people go, what is that? At this show, we've noticed that completely spontaneously, there were conversations about the technology and the standard that people are having, that the industry is starting to get to know the technology and the standard, and maybe a little bit of confusion about the fact that some people believe it still validates the content, where it basically says that, if this is signed by C2PA, it means this is how it happened, and this is what actually happened, and this is the utter truth.
Meaning the content if it were a news item or something like that.
Exactly. But even, I don't know, factual in the sense that, God, I can't think of it. Now that I'm on the spot, I can't think of it.
If you were to say that the sky were blue in
Yes.
this video, then it's not actually going to certify that the sky is actually blue.
Correct.
It's really just certifying that it's your content that you created.
Exactly.
And whatever the content, whatever in that content wrapper is not necessarily being certified. It's just, I have ownership of this.
And even if the sky is orange and I say it's blue, then, it's
can't-
my own opinion.
Right.
And nobody can, it's my own opinion. I'm not stating a fact.
Right.
So there's, short of that confusion of what C2P actually means, I feel like there's a lot more conversation about it. The industry is starting to understand the technology and understand use cases and starting to get kind of comfortable with it. And I'm hoping, the next step would be to have the public at large get into it, understand it as well, and actually start to possibly demand content that has provenance in it, so that we can at least say, yes, this is C2PA content, and we can trace the source of it.
I was on a panel yesterday and someone made an amazing analogy to this, right? And that is, for years and years and years, there was HTTP and HTTPS. And it took a while to educate the public that you don't want to make a transaction unless you're on an HTTPS site. And all you need to do is look for that little green lockbox in the browser. And it feels like that's the same kind of thing. We're training the community to say, hey, I'm looking at this, it doesn't look like it's legit. How do I find out whether it's legit? I just don't go to Snopes.
Yep.
Right? There's a standard way to go, oh, okay, this is legitimate, not legitimate content, but Olga says this, she created this and she owns it, then I know. And if I trust Olga, then I trust the content.
Yep, basically. Yeah, and basically at this point, it is a large question of who is supposed to educate the public and how you educate the public. Earlier, I also heard a conversation, somebody asked, well, maybe hopefully one day we'll have a setting within the browser that says, only show me content, be it video or photo, with provenance. I mean, obviously, regardless of the source. I don't know, one day, maybe, hopefully.
Or inside the smart TV, where even if it's just a little banner, subtle banner that pops up, like if it's got a yellow border, it's questionable or something to that effect.
Yep.
Yep. And I think that's probably how it goes. It's something simple and easy to understand by the consumer, without being overly complex and obtuse. So.
Well, right now we have a solution that we actually have it implemented for live video, and in our version of it, right by the play button, there's a little contact credentials CR little logo, and if the CR is just plain old regular CR, that means this content is fine. And then if the CR has a little red X through it, that means that there's, in this video, that there's pieces of it that have been manipulated. And the little X doesn't show up until you get to the manipulated frames, but then it tells you that these pieces have been manipulated. And yeah, you may trust the majority of this video, but this one piece, something's really off with that.
Ironically, probably the easiest way to communicate this is it shows up in a Law and Order episode, in a forensic, analysis or something, and they're in the courtroom and like, see the little red X? That means that this has been manipulated. So.
Well, maybe we should go talk to them.
Yeah, Dick Wolf, if you're listening.
Yeah, exactly.
So this has been so great. I appreciate you sitting down with us. You're headed home here shortly?
Yeah, I'm traveling. I'm spending a little bit of time in California, catching up with some other friends in the industry. But heading home at the end of the week. Maybe taking a little bit of sun while I'm still here.
It's a good place to do it. So thanks so much again. I'm Doug Daulton for Streaming Media 25. This has been Olga Kornienko of EZDRM, and we'll see you next time.